You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast following a hard-fought 3-2 shootout loss to the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm Ross Levitan. With me, as always, Brandon Pillar and recurring guest on the Postcast at Laleem's Martian, who clips all the games. So if you missed any of it, why not head over to Laleem's Martian's Twitter feed while you listen to the Postcast? You can do that free and available wherever you download your podcasts, or join us live as we enjoy following the chat throughout the show. Pilsy, your initial reaction following that 3-2 loss in a shootout?
This is the best example of the process is more important than the results, right? Like, for them to already be down Batherson, lose Norris early, be getting outshot extremely in the first period, and then come back and hold on and take it all the way to the shootout is pretty damn impressive. So if you're DJ Smith, honestly, like, this is probably the game you're most proud of your team, even more than the 5-0 against Buffalo. And I'll even say more than the Florida games in Tampa and in Florida, because the odds were stacked against you. And what did they do? They didn't complain. They didn't get down on themselves. They stepped up. They played a good game. And I thought, guys, the key to this game was the Sens won the neutral zone battles. Like, it seemed like anytime there was a battle in the neutral zone, the Sens were either able to take it and go the other way, or at the very least stop the Canes from getting into the O zone. So I think all these guys all around deserve stick taps. And there's a couple guys like Tim Stützle. That's got to be a career high in ice time, right? Over 24 minutes. Like, he played a very incredible game. And he did a pretty good job of, once Stepan scored, he wanted to get back on the score sheet too to make me look good there, but he couldn't quite do it.
He had a few real good opportunities.
Yeah.
What do you think the best chance to get that elusive third goal in this game was, Martian?
Geez, you put me on the spot there. I'm not too sure what I think about that, actually, Ross, but I thought the Sens did a really good job of hanging in there all night, basically, right? It's like, they got the goaltending. They had some really good luck early on, and just to be able to hang in there. As far as good slots at the end, I'm not too sure about that.
Oh, we love when dogs make appearances on the show, but we appreciate that as well. Pilsy, you want to pick up where Martian left off?
Yeah, I think really it was more the defensive efforts that helped the Sens get in this game. Sure, they did get a bunch of shots, and they were able to kind of bounce back here. But I wouldn't say they had two, other than Sokolov had a great chance out front, point blank, but couldn't quite bury it. But other than that, I thought Chucky hit the post too. But I thought it was just their ability to keep the Hurricanes wide, limit their scoring chances, that helped them stay in this game. And once again, we got to give stick taps to Matt Murray. Like, this guy, it seems like, even though it's still a small sample size, but it's been consistent now, which is something we were not used to for the rest of this season.
Tim Stützle didn't play 20 minutes in a game at all last year. Tonight was his 9th game this season where he cracks 20 minutes. And you are right, Pilsy. Not only does he set a career high, but he does it by over 2 minutes of ice time. His last career high, do you want to take a guess when that came?
Last game?
Against Buffalo.
Yeah, I was going to say, it had to be recently, yeah.
The very last game. So he had never played more than 21 minutes in a game, and now he's done it in back-to-back efforts and still had some juice left in overtime. He had a couple great opportunities, and I know you clipped this one, Martian, but making Jacob Slavin take a penalty should give you at least a penalty shot in that situation. Very unbiased take by me on that one.
Yeah, the hands were definitely going for Timmy tonight. He was definitely a standout. I love how, you could tell the guys who were going to step up with, the unfortunate injury to Norris tonight, with Batherson being out. You could tell Formanton and Stützle, and even, Ennis and guys like that probably looked at each other and said, we need to be the ones to step it up here tonight. Nobody else is going to be around to score the goals. So I'm really happy with the way that they responded to, that bit of adversity. They really kind of endured the challenges that were put in front of them. And those aren't small challenges, right? Those are pretty key parts of the team. And to be able to hang in there still with the Hurricanes, not too shabby.
Tim Stützle had 8 face-off wins tonight. He had 8 combined in his last 5 games. So that tells you just how much and the importance that he was snapping it back.
He was 7-1 at one point.
Yep.
What was the final tally there?
I don't have the final number, but he was 67%. So any math guys in the comments, I'm sure, can put 2 and 2 together for that one. But the reason why I feel like this is an appropriate place to go is Josh Norris only playing 4 minutes and 42 seconds before leaving with injury. I didn't think it was a dirty play, but of course it's a dangerous area on the ice when you're in that 4-foot radius around the boards.
Yeah, Martian, you hit on this one first. I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me a ton of the Pinto injury, right? It was the way he fell in and he kind of leaned back to brace his arms the way he did, if I had to guess. And I even said it in the comments of that clip. It looked like there could have been about 3 different things that he was injured with there. But I'm going to have to guess that it's probably the shoulder, just the way he reached back like that. It was a bit of an awkward move with his arm when he kind of rolled over on his side like that. Very similar to Pinto. Really tough to see, but yeah, even his knee kind of whiplashed at one point, his back slammed against the board. So that was a tough spell. Josh Norris is not going to be feeling too good on the drive home, I don't think.
No, but hopefully it's not long-term like Drake Batherson was, although it was great to see Drake supporting the boys at the game. He's got the cast on, the walking boot.
It's heartbreaking.
And the, what do you call it? The stroller. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got a stroller there, yeah.
To come along with him. So yeah, that was tough to see, but I mean, what can you do at this point? We've covered it in depth the last 2 days on Locked On Senators, and let's hope that we're not having similar conversations about Josh Norris's injury, as we'll know more tomorrow. DJ Smith, though, if I'm just taking him at his post-game press conference word, I don't think we're looking at a long-term thing, maybe until the end of the All-Star break, which wouldn't be ideal, but whatever. At least it's not months like we found out it is with Drake Batherson. Of course, okay, let's get through the game and then we'll hit on our Send Central standouts, go from there, read some chat, and away we go. But, oh my God, no scoring in the first. But, of course, who else to open the scoring than Derek Stepan? A tip to Brady Shea shot, but Jesperi Kotkaniemi gets an assist on it as well. Maybe the 2 guys who we laughed about most this morning, Pilsy, they come back and bite the Sens to open the scoring.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of set that up to happen, didn't we, Ross?
They were listening for sure, boys.
Exactly. Yeah. Having a couple chuckles at these guys at the fourth line. And yeah, they really shot that back at us. But that was kind of the theme of this game, right? Is point shots making their way in and really changing the outcome of this game. And Derek Stepan gets a nice tip. That's a tough one for Murray to solve. And you know, you hate to see it because we talked about the revenge game going the other way with Clark Bishop, hopefully, but ended up the old Uno reverse card happened to us here, and Derek Stepan gets the revenge game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still mad about that, Pilsy. You said that Stepan would score if Tim Stützle would score in this game, but ultimately was not the case tonight. However, the next goal was nice because I like those unexpected goals where it's just a nothing play and all of a sudden the horn goes off and away we go. What'd you see on Nick Paul's tuck tonight, Martian?
Oh, I saw a hell of a lot more than Freddie Anderson saw tonight on that goal, because that thing floated from 6 inches from the blue line, and it was about as hard as I could probably have gotten it there. So he just kind of floated it in. D'Angelo stuck his leg out at the worst possible time as a defenseman. Not to do that most of the time. So really kind of a unlucky play for Freddie. If you're Freddie Anderson watching that, you're not expecting it to deflect off your own defenseman the way it did. So, I mean, that's what I saw on that goal.
Yeah, I mean, Tony D'Angelo's used to sticking out at wrong times. I think that's fair to say on and off the ice. So that's par for the course here. But, hey, he was my locked-on player. I said he's racking up points. I just didn't realize he was going to be scoring on his own net here.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the way it goes.
So the other guaranteed goal that you guys had this morning on your podcast, you want to get to that, Ross? Or
yeah, let's work our way up to it because that was at the end of the game. Let's go chronologically in case people are on their way on a Friday. Still vibing though. I mean, you get the point in a tough circumstance. You've now taken 3 out of 4 possible points against the Carolina Hurricanes, a team that's won 13 out of 15 games since that last meeting with the Ottawa Senators. If you're Matt Murray, you're now still with 0 regulation losses since his return from Belleville. So that's another thing you can hang your hat on if you're the Ottawa Senators.
Well, the Leafs game that we don't talk about. I hate to bring
it up.
Yeah.
No, that okay. We don't talk about it.
Sorry.
That's the point.
I'll see myself out.
Are you nuts?
What Leafs game in early January?
There we go. Yeah.
Third period in a game we will talk about. Alex Formenton. Now, this play starts with Victor Mete. I thought in the neutral zone, he made a great play. Then he gets the puck. They move up. Bang. Don't look now, by the way, boys. Adam Gaudette has
Got
what, 8 points in 9 games now? Is that for the Ottawa Senators? That's unbelievable.
Sneaky offensive player, that guy.
Yeah, he is. He's super sneaky. Cameron writing in that Belleville fixed Matt Murray. Are you ready to go that far?
Hey, I mean, you got to give some credit to a change in his process, right? Like we look at last year, right? Things weren't going well, so they threw a change in. They changed the goalie coach, and we saw benefits from that. Things aren't going well this year. They try to throw a change in his routine. Maybe the way they executed it, not exactly honorable, but it was a change nonetheless, and it gave Matt Murray a kick in the butt. I'm sure that lit a fire under his ass, and he ends up coming back a much better goalie and healthier too. So I think if you're Matt Murray, you got to be pretty proud of the way you're able to bounce back here, because we talked about it in the show today, Ross. If this Senators team was going to have a chance, so injured up against a stacked team, they were going to need exceptional play from their goaltender, whoever it was, and they got it.
Yeah, and can we get some more love for Alex Formenton? I mean, maybe we for Sen Central standouts, but this guy is, he's just playing on a different planet right now. Like his first month, in the first 7 games, he averaged under 12 minutes per game. Now, when's the last time he played at less than 20? He's out there in all situations, and man, I just really enjoy watching this guy play game in, game out. He's just so speedy through the neutral zone. He's just making everybody look silly and, dancing out there. So good stuff from there. And well, then it was looking good for a little while, but later on in the third period, I don't even want to talk about this one. Pillsy, take us away. What'd you see on the game tying goal with less than 4 minutes left?
The game tying goal. Oh boy, I gotta rack my memory here. I was just the Nino Niederreiter one. Okay, yeah. So this is a tough call, and I've actually really liked Mike Johnson's analysis lately. I know some Sens fans don't exactly love him, and that's fair, but I think what he was saying was a fair point, and it's the dumbest rule ever, but the whole intent to blow the whistle, right? I think that's a situation where I thought, like, I don't know how do you challenge intent to blow the whistle? I'm not sure how that is a black and white scenario, but that's a situation where Matt Murray thinks he's got it and it's just slipped past him and he's not moving because he's waiting for that whistle, right? But it doesn't come, and it comes a little late, and Niederreiter, he gets it, and that ends up being a huge turnaround in this game, because that was only with a couple minutes left and the Sens were doing a great job holding on here. So it's tough that that's the way it went down, but for the Sens to just take it all the way there, you got to be pretty proud. So although I was disappointed, I wasn't like enraged that one happened,
And how about in the second period, out shooting them 20-6 after being outshot in the first period, but coming out and being like,
and losing Norris in that time.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Aaron, I don't want to talk about quick whistles 2015.
I was going to say, I didn't think that there was any way that we'd have we'd get away with 2 quick whistles in a row, 2 games in a row, right? Because there was the one last game where it went in the Sens' favor. This one, I don't even have a real issue with the goal because the puck was loose. The ref was getting a little too trigger happy, I think, with the whistle. But, I mean, with that intent to blow the whistle rule, he was putting it in his mouth when the puck was going in the net. So I don't know.
Yeah. And then we'll get to the play in overtime where it was another quick whistle as well. But to start overtime, we see players get caught on the ice, of course, with the long change. What a great rule change that was, to switch sides going into overtime. So guys couldn't just sneak off like that. So Thomas Chabot ends up playing the first 3 minutes of the overtime period. And when he got the puck, he then brought it back behind his own net. And I was like, is he going off or is he just going to play the whole overtime? he ends up starting the rush, wanted to make sure it was in good hands across the red line again. Like Norris is one of their key guys in 3-on-3. So we saw Brady back in his usual spot starting overtimes, which he didn't do the last game because they wanted Norris to win that faceoff. But man, that Chabot shift was super impressive because even by the end of it, he was still making good decisions with the puck. I thought his whole game was outstanding tonight, Pilsy. But let's get to the overtime. What did you see? Did you think the Sens had a chance there when Timmy deked out not only Slavin, but then that other move later on?
I mean, it was damn close, and I was kind of counting on that, like we talked about, to get a good laugh from the Stepan Stützle point-for-point matchup there. But it was a great effort, and for Timmy to be able to pull off that effort in overtime after playing, like we just talked about, career high in ice time, it's very impressive what Tim Stützle was able to do. So I think if you're him, you got to really look at this game and be proud of yourself and say that's something to build off. And now with Josh Norris uncertainty, yeah, you better get used to playing those minutes, Timmy, because you're going to get a bump in ice time, and get used to taking the hardest draws. Well, we'll see. Maybe not, because he might be with Brady Tkachuk. He might get kind of the nod on the draws, but get used to playing up against top lines, top D pairs, and in high pressure situations. So I thought it was a great taste for Timmy to figure this out, because depending on how long Josh Norris is out, this could be a regular thing for him.
That's so funny. Both our pups had a comment on that one. I want to point out too something I liked. Like Aho's their number one center, and sure, he's a young guy too, but Timmy went 3 for 3 against him. The only guy who cleaned him out was Vinny Trocheck. Went 3 for 4 against Timmy. So Timmy 1 for 4, of course, there, but 2 for 2 against Stepan, 3 for 3 against Aho, 1 for 1 against Kotkaniemi, and 1 for 2 against Jordan Staal. So I was hard on Timmy in the faceoff, so I got to give him his credit here, because he certainly snapped him back. And now Alfie starts going, this is absolutely wild. I may as well bring him in here, say what up. But what else did you like about the Sens game? I think this would be a good time to transition into our Sens Central standouts. Whose turn is it? I think it's Martian's turn to go first.
Let's give it to Martian.
I can't go.
All right, the dogs are barking, I guess, for Martian here. So I'll. Oh, you're muted here.
Who, me?
Okay. No, Martian was, but I don't think he was talking to us. That's okay.
No.
I'm going to start. I'll start with my Sens Central standout then first, and I'm going to go with Matt Murray here, just because. Sure, he wasn't, I wouldn't call him totally a difference maker, but for him to continue this stretch of consistent good hockey, like, I don't know about you guys, but every time Matt Murray starts now, I'm kind of not expecting a stinker, but waiting for that collapse to happen. But he's not letting it happen. And this is up against one of the best teams in the league. We talked about it. They score so many goals. Their power play is incredible. Their face-offs win percentage is incredible. Like, this was a tall task for him, especially with an injured roster to boot. So I just want to give stick taps to Murray, because this is someone that I've been cheering for and I've been hoping can turn it around. And I believe that so far in this kind of resurgence in 2022, he has turned it around.
Okay, I will say I agree, but he made me mad in overtime, though. There was one play where he could have, I think, covered the puck, and that was about 2 minutes and 20 seconds into Shabbat's shift. I'm like, please just hold on to it. And at that point, you're worried that something might go wrong.
He gets a little antsy with playing the puck, and I think that's something like Matt Murray is at best an average puck handler. So he needs to be a little bit more conservative with that puck. And overtime, like you mentioned, Ross, that's something you need to be aware of. Like, hey, my top defenseman that's already climbing up in the high 20s in minutes, maybe I should try to get him a break here and freeze this one.
Sorry,
the dogs are barking up in the LT here tonight.
I know, he's an absolute nut. He's trying to get in here too. What a guy. He doesn't even know the Sens lost tonight in a shootout. My first Sens Central standout here. I'm just going to take this clip off.
We're going around twice again.
All right.
Is that what you want to do? I thought only once would probably be fine tonight.
Yeah, no. I think once is plenty enough.
I got an honorable mention, so if it comes back to me, I'll hit on it.
Okay, right, hopefully I don't take your honorable mention.
Okay, are you up?
I'll go. Yeah.
Pass it to Martian.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'm actually going to go with a guy who didn't get a ton of ice time tonight, and that's Igor Sokolov.
Nice.
I thought, he only played just over 10 minutes tonight, but I noticed him quite a bit on the good end and on the bad end. He was -2 on the night. I don't know how much attention we pay to that, but the second goal he was on against, he came on after Tkachuk and who else? I think it was Ennis. They were exhausted in the offensive zone. They had to get off on a chain. So he kind of got thrown out there on the back check, and they scored on that one. So I'm not going to give him too much flack for that second minus that he took. But the first one, they kind of got hemmed in a little bit. So a little bit on the negative side there for him there. But he also did get a few good chances. I thought he was heavy on the forecheck, like really solid on the forecheck. He was stealing pucks, making things happen, getting it down low on the cycle, playing below the goal line. And that's, I think, good Igor Sokolov hockey. And he kind of showed, too, that, he showed DJ Smith that he can play a bit of a grinding style if he really needs to. And they can put him down in the bottom six. And, it's never a bad thing to have, a guy who can play heavy hockey down low in the bottom six, but also be able to shoot the puck like he can, because he's definitely a threat. Would have loved to see a little bit more of him on the power play, but I thought Igor Sokolov had a really good game, so I'm going with Igor for my stand-up.
He would have been mine. I would have jumped you in line if he had buried that chance and made me look like a genius after I guaranteed his first NHL goal. Pilsy, how close was he to putting that past Anderson?
Oh my God, so close. And if you're Igor Sokolov, like, you're a shark smelling blood in the water there. You get a turnover out in front, point blank, and you even get Freddie Anderson a little bit caught off guard as well. So that's a spot where I would have liked to see Igor shine, but they didn't get a whole lot of power play time, Martians. So it's too bad, because I would have liked to see Sokolov get some good wrist shots going at the kind of hash marks on the power play as well. Maybe take over Josh Norris's shot, but just switch that one timer with the wrist shot. But I thought, you know what, Sokolov, and keep in mind too, Sokolov hasn't played a game in quite some time here. Belleville's been on a big break. So this jumping into an NHL role after not playing at all for a while is a tough task. So yeah, even though he's a -2, I'll nod my head or tip my cap to Igor Sokolov as well.
Dan McConnell is tipping his cap to Martian in the comments, saying, great take there, buddy. Way to go. And remember, you can join the comments after each and every Senators game in the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast. And we just had back-to-back. We never hit 3,000 downloads in a day, and now we just did it back-to-back. And that's because of great Ottawa Senators fans. And maybe the cold weather has a little something to do with it. Everyone trying to stay warm, stay inside. But I mean, you can throw us on when you're in the car, when you're out for a walk, wherever. We're right here, wherever you download your podcast. You can also watch the show on YouTube after each and every Senators game. You can join us live. Love everyone in the chat. Let's get some Go Sens going there. We don't have to save that for the end. And for my Sen Central standout, it's Nick Paul. He does it all. He led all forwards in shorthanded ice time. He's over 50% in the circle. Took more draws like he did earlier in the year because Josh Norris was out, didn't play as much, led all Senators in shots on goal, had 5, couple hits, and he and Watson both so heavy and physical on the forecheck. And that's what caused these Hurricanes a bit of pause. And I think they were surprised at the amount of energy and enthusiasm that the Senators played with in an empty building. Like, usually that sucks at all the energy, all the momentum, all the adrenaline out of you, just not having that fan support. But I think the Senators did a great job manufacturing that themselves tonight. And I think Nick Paul was a huge example. The guy wears a letter, and I think he really led the way here for Ottawa tonight in the physical and emotion categories.
Absolutely. Yeah. Can I hit on my honorable mention then?
Absolutely.
I want to give a shout out to Lassie Thompson, because he played a lot tonight as well. And looking at the shift charts here, we just talked about how incredible it was for Thomas Chabot to play so much in all these long shifts. Well, if you look at the shift chart, Lassie Thompson's right there playing those 1.5, 2-minute shifts with him. And for a young kid to be able to play those long shifts and not be nervous or trying to get off on a change quickly and maybe do it at an inopportune time or something like that, and to be doing it up against the top lines of the opponents is very impressive. So although Thompson, there wasn't a lot of offense there, I couldn't even say there was too many highlights defensively. It was just a good, quiet, solid night from him, and he deserves some praise for that.
Our dogs deserve some praise too. They've both quieted down, and we appreciate that. That's the beauty of the live postcast tonight.
Embarrassing.
Tonight we're wrapping up a 3-2 Senators shootout loss, and Timmy had been so good in the shootout. He just healed that one, right? Oh,
yeah, he had the 5-hole for sure. He was going 5-hole there, but he just kind of whiffed on it.
We know that's his move. He's got these quick hands. He does 100 moves just like Patty Kane does, and then he either goes 5-hole or he'll pull it backhand. I thought he had backhand, but it's tough when it's such a big goalie like Freddie Anderson in net. He's got those long limbs, and that's how he stopped Ennis. Like, Ennis tried to cut back that one last time. He had him. Freddie was sliding the other way, but he just couldn't keep patience or get it up like he did the other night where he had no problem roofing it from that exact same location for his second when he put up 3 there. So I'm curious your thoughts on the choosing those 3 shooters, because of course Timmy's going to be one. Ennis, I guess you could say he earned it, but I kind of knew the game was over when Brady Tkachuk was one of the
That's what I
first
wanted
3
to ask
shooters.
you, Ross, because you were saying Brady looks at a guy like Svechnikov and says, I should have been picked before him. Svechnikov scores in the shootout. The nod goes to Brady. How were you feeling when he went up there? Like, I know skill-wise, the shootout,
confident.
you weren't confident at all.
No,
You didn't think that kind of inner fire would boost him there?
No, I just...
Who would you have gone with for the
Ross.
third guy then?
I'm surprised you feel
if
that
you know,
way.
if you know you're down a goal, not just like pick 3 guys at the start. If you know you're down a goal, who are you going instead?
You know what? Ennis probably would have been my third shooter when I submitted it. I would have led with Timmy.
Okay, let's say Ennis Stützle go. Then who do you do as your third?
But that's revisionist because I wouldn't be in the situation. Anyways, I'll give you that answer after.
Fair,
first 3, because I would submit my list. My list would be 1 Stützle, 2 Artem Zub, and 3
nice.
And 3 Tyler Ennis would have been my third guy. I wouldn't put that pressure on Zub to be the third guy. I wouldn't want him to lead off, but as the middle guy, the team knows how good he is. They see it every day in shootouts, and that's why it's hard for me to question who they pick for the shootout, because the coaches see it at the end of practice every day. They know who has the best opportunity to win, but I think DJ Smith can also have the blinders on to his leaders a little bit too. And hey, if he wants to live and die with the captain, I see that. But I think just from a pure skill and talent standpoint for that one part of the game, Brady would have probably been my 5th or 6th shooter, even with all the injuries.
Yeah, I would have gone with Zub for sure as well. And I thought Ennis was a fine choice. He almost scored. It was a really good move that he pulled. He just he didn't get it up. But I'm surprised you feel that way about Tkachuk, because I feel like, he's of anybody, if like in a need to score situation, like, we say it all the time, he'll will his way to a goal. You can do that even in a shootout, I think. If you don't think the skill's there, that's one thing, but I don't think Brady Tkachuk's really lacking skill either. So I was completely fine with them going with Tkachuk. But yeah, I would have liked to see them mix in someone like Zub at this point in the season when, things, they're not looking good for making the playoffs, and he can kind of score, give the fans a bit of a cookie, and it's a vibe thing too. I think if they throw in Zub at the second spot and he scores, maybe Tkachuk feels differently when he's going down, and it's not maybe as much pressure. But hindsight's 20/20, boys.
You know who I would have liked to see in a shootout, not because I know any of his shootout history, but how about a guy like Adam Gaudette, who is a liability defensively, but he's got some hands and he's got a shot. I would be curious to see how he does in those post-practice shootouts, Ross, because he seems like someone that has all the tools to be a great shootout shooter, no? Especially when he's on a hot streak like this. Oh, muted.
Sorry, Alfie's been so loud, I'm just leaving myself on mute just for fun. I like that point a lot. I think it's super interesting. But what I was also looking up here, and I want to say I'm gonna have to search him by name, or was that Brady Tkachuk's first shootout attempt? I think it was. Yeah, I'm looking at it right. Oh, never mind. So, three.
Okay.
Yeah. That was his 4th attempt. He's got 0 goals.
Yeah.
Still looking for his first. Tyler Ennis, 1 for 5 now. Since 2018, I just set it for when Brady got in the league. The Sens don't really have like that many guys. Let's go from
where's Tom Pyatt when you need him, eh?
Well,
oh my God.
Yeah, 100%. But even I'm just doing it from DJ Smith's tenure. Like Anthony Duclair, 0 for 5. Like their best shootout guy is Tim Stützle. Their second best shootout guy is Josh Norris.
Yeah.
Their third best shootout guy in this span is Vlad Namestnikov.
Oh.
And then Artem Anisimov, not Artem Zub.
Nice. You know who else I wouldn't have mind seeing? And I mean, we're going to name the whole roster if we stay here long enough. But, I think Sokolov would have been a fine choice there too.
Goalie doesn't have nerves are going at that point.
Yeah, but I don't think the goalie's got a book on him. You rely on the shot, just rifle one in there. It'll be instincts by then for him. The nerves won't matter.
Last question, and I'm gonna answer one first from the chat. And no, to answer your question, Joe Shabbat has never taken a shootout attempt. Pilsy, how late would you have had to get in the shootout for Thomas Chabot to jump over the boards?
That's interesting. I think I would start to think about it if it went past 3 rounds. But yeah, like I said, I would have looked to a guy like Gaudette, and I know he doesn't have the best success on a breakaway, but he certainly has the most experience, and that's Alex Formanton, right? Like I think I would have looked at him, especially again. That's another guy that's hot. I think when you look at the shootout, you kind of got to go with the hot hand sometimes, But I don't like Formanton. We saw his penalty shot, right? He tends to go with a slow, wide approach, which for me is just baffling when you're arguably the fastest player in the league to not use that to your advantage. So maybe I wouldn't have gone Formanton. So yeah, Gaudette's my answer. I would love to see what he can do.
Yeah, I think Gaudette is certainly an interesting guy to see here in the next week or so, how much ice time he gets. And if he can really establish himself as a full-time NHLer, it's super impressive. I've got some fun questions here just because it's the first shootout game that they've had in some time. Like, when was the last shootout game? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
They haven't really gone to extra time even that often. I don't feel like this season. Like it seems like, well, at least they're not losing in overtime very often. How many times have
they've been?
I don't have a shootout on the top of my head, but I am a little tired tonight, guys, so my memory's not great.
One shootout this year, and it was in New Jersey, December 6th. So we're gonna do some shootout trivia. So obviously the shootout came into the league 2005, 2006. The Senators won the first ever shootout in National Hockey League history. Alfie and Heatley both scored for Ottawa. Dominic Hasek gets the win.
Hello.
And the Senators go in the history book. So I'm going to have 2 questions here. One, which Senators player has the most shootout goals in franchise history? And I say that, but of course it's since 2005. So anybody in the chat as well can chime in here. But if you guys want to guess which Ottawa Senator has the most shootout goals,
I bet it's Jason Spezza.
Pilsy?
My brain says Heatley just because, I mean, the guy's a goal scorer, but I don't know how he would do in the shootout. My heart says Mike Hoffman because I feel like that's a guy who, if you give him time and space, he can do some pretty incredible things. Back when he
probably had his fair share too, Pilsy. You're right. He probably shot a lot.
Both of those players you mentioned, Pilsy, have 3 shootout goals. One of them, Heatley, in 19 attempts, and Hoffman in 13 attempts. Martian, you're right. It's Jason Spezza, and some people had that right in the chat as well. 22 shootout goals for Jason Spezza on 57 attempts. So that's a lot of attempts, 38%. So that's good. Let's put it at minimum 25 attempts. Which Senators player has the best shootout percentage? Who is the best shootout player?
Did you say minimum 25 attempts?
Yeah, this guy, it's
can't
impressive.
Be that many.
Like Spezza had 57 attempts.
That's
Turris had
percentage.
50. Alfie 49. Those are the most volume shooters. But I think this answer might surprise you a little bit.
Milan McCulloch.
No. I like that.
No, that's a good one. He went 6 for 22.
Not good.
Yeah, I think it might be Pajot.
No, it's not Pajot either. Pajot wasn't used as often in the shootout. I actually still I'm doing a lot of scrolling and I can't find him here. The highest percentage. Yeah, I'm looking in the chat, see if anyone had it. No, not Bobby Ryan, not Milan McCulloch, not Mark Stone, not Carlson, not Dzingel, not Turris. Shootout percentage. Most goals percentage. So when they go up
I'm going to guess Tom
chance,
Pyatt just because if someone didn't guess the shootout specialist, that'd be a damn shame.
Tom Pyatt went 2 for 8 with the Ottawa Senators in the shootout. 8 attempts in itself is eye-popping number. The correct answer, minimum 10 shots even. We can go all the way as low as 10. We can't go as low as 7 because Silfverberg went 4 for 7. The most successful shootout player, I keep prolonging it because I want somebody to get it in the chat. Nobody's got it.
I'm stumped.
It's Mika Zibanejad.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Wow.
Mika Zibanejad scored on 13.
I wouldn't even thought that he took that many attempts.
13 on 28. So he was a go-to guy
Not
for
bad.
Paul McLean. Yeah, and he was in 43 shootout games, and he shot in 28 of them. So that's a super high percentage in itself. The only other guy, so minimum 5 attempts, I already said Silverberg. The only other guy over 45%, Alex Kovalev. So another stud who finished his career there. So that's just a little bonus at the end here, a little trivia, a little fun here as the Senators go to their second shootout game of the year, but they lose their first. So 1-1 in the shootout. They still get a point against a very, very good team, and they don't have any rest because the Anaheim Ducks, and let's end on this. I don't know if you boys saw Trevor Zegras tonight.
Holy.
The Michigan. And not only the Svechnikov, we'll call it in a way, because that's who was in Ottawa tonight. He did it at the NHL level, but this was in full stride. That's insane.
Yeah, actually, Svechnikov tried it tonight too. I don't know if you
know.
saw it. He did have a quick attempt at it, but the way Zegras did it was holy Moses. He was full speed. Yeah, he quickly got it up on his stick, and it was like a full-blown speed wraparound, but top shelf. So good luck stopping that.
I'm excited to see him play the Sens. I mean, this guy, he's worth the price of admission. Like, he's
at this point,
seats,
like the hype is real for sure. Like he's going to be scoring goals like this for the next 20 years, maybe he's going to have the best highlight reel. He might give Datsuk a run for the sickest highlight reels, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Patrick Kane up there as well. How about Sarah Phillips wishing that we had Zib and Zoop? That would get confusing as a fan. Keep up with that. But hey,
get us the Zegras too. That'd be nice.
Yeah, seriously.
Zegras
and Jamie Drysdale, who Sens fans will always be keeping a keen eye on as the second defenseman of the 2020 draft, right after Jake Sanderson went 5th overall to the Ottawa Senators. We're going to preview Jake Sanderson's weekend at North Dakota before he heads to the Olympics. Tyler Boucher will make his OHL debut tomorrow. That's something that we can touch on tomorrow's show, and we'll have more in-depth breakdown of tonight's game. We appreciate everyone joining us in the Postcast on our YouTube channel and subscribing and liking and all that fun stuff. The chat is always a great time as well, win, lose, or draw. But now the Sens stay 9-5-3 in the Postcast era. So we got to keep that rolling. Hope everyone has a great night and a great start to their Friday. We'll chat about 2 o'clock when Locked On Senators comes out. Again, a 3-2 loss in the shootout tonight for the Ottawa Senators. For @Laleem's Martian, @Brandon Pillar, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators